Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 LA. Shakespeare 2020 LA is the Los Angeles division of the Shakespeare Project 2020, a worldwide challenge created by Ian Dosher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in 2020. Shakespeare 2020 LA is comprised of Los Angeles local professional actors. We meet as a group to read and workshop the plays as scheduled by the Shakespeare 2020 Project. We also performed staged readings at Los Angeles public libraries, which we look forward to resuming when we're all able to gather together again. Today's reading is William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Our players are Jason Rennie, Christopher Carbo, Martin Hillier, Pamela Roylance, Ron Dorn, Sasha Venn, Taylor Marr, Chris Klein, and Cameron Prince. Our technical director is Jason Rennie. I'm Mary Carrig. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy William Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Act 1, Scene 1. The watch outside Elsinore Castle, a platform before the castle. Enter Bernardo and Francisco.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Bernardo.
He.
You come most carefully upon your watch.
It has now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand ho! Who is there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the Dane.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Bernardo.
Say, what, is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What, has this thing appeared again tonight?
I've seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush, tush, will not appear.
Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story, what we have 2 nights seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one.
Peace, break thee off. Look where it comes.
In the same figure like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio.
Looks he not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like, it horrors me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Speak to it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurps this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form, in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay, speak! Speak, I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you want?
Before my God, I might not believe this without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once when, in an angry parle, he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour with martial stroke hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work, I know not. But in the gross and scope of mine own opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good now. Sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war, why such impress of shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the wreck. What might be toward this sweaty haste doth make the night joint labor? Who is warm?
That can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by most emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who, by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized of to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gagged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras had he been vanquisher, as by the same comart and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise that hath a stomach in't, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us, by strong hand and terms compulsatory, those foresaid lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and rummage in the land.
I think it be no other but e'en so. Well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king that was and is the question of these wars.
A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star, upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands, was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse, and even the like precursive feared events, as harbingers preceding still the fates in prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. But soft. Behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that made to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast abhorred in thy life, extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
Shall I strike it with my partisan?
Do if it will not stand.
'Tis here.
'Tis here.
'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
It was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein this present object made prohibition.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever against that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated. This bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then, they say, no spirit dare stir abroad. The nights are wholesome. Then no planets strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is that time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn in russet mantle clad walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet, for upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it as needful in our loves, fitting our duty?
Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most convenient.
Act 1, Scene 2, Elsinore. A room of state in the castle. Enter Claudius, Gertrude, Polonius, Laertes, Hamlet, Voltamon, and Cornelius.
Though yet of Hamlet our brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe, yet so far hath discretion fought with nature that we with wisest sorrow think on him together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late brother's death, our state to be disjoined and out of frame. Colleagued with his dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourself and for this time of meeting, thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gait herein, in that he levies the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voldemond, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty.
In that in all things we will show our duty.
We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is't, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane, and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence, though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation. Yet now I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
Hath my lord wrung from me my slow leave by laborsome petition, and at last upon his head I have sealed my heart consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
A little more than kin and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted color off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids look for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis his common that all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems? Madam. Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration, forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected behavior of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passes show. These but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know your father lost a father. That father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. this unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be, and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we in our peevish opposition take it to heart? Fie! 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature. To reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first course till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and fair reply. Be as of ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart, in grace whereof no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings roused, the heaven shall brew it again, respeaking earthly thunder. Come away.
Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh, God! God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this! But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother, that he might not between the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere the shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears, why she, even she, oh God, beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother. No more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her gauntlet eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship.
I'm glad to see you well. Horatio, or I do forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what makes you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus!
My good lord.
I am very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what, in faith, make you from Wittenberg?
A truant disposition, good my lord.
I would not hear your enemies say so, nor shall you do my ear that violence to make a truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I prithee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all, I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father.
Season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Barnardo, on their watch in the dead waste in middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure, like your father, armed at point exactly cap a pee, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes within his truncheon's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father, these hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watch.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk away in haste and vanished from our sight.
'Tis very strange.
As I live, my honored lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my lord.
Armed, you say?
Armed.
Armed, my lord.
From top to toe?
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up.
What, looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I had been there.
I would have much amazed you.
Very like. Stayed it long?
While one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer.
Not when I saw it.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was, as I've seen it in his life, a sable silvered.
I will watch tonight, perchance 'twill walk again.
I warrant it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well. Upon the platform, 'twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Your loves as mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Oh, would the night were come. Till then sit still my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
Act 1, Scene 3, Elsinore, a room in Polonius's house. Enter Laertes and Ophelia.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convey his assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so?
Think it no more. For nature crescent does not grow alone in thews and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor coddle doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear. His greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and the health of this whole state. And therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then, if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal. Then weigh what loss your honor may sustain, if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The chariest maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not calumnious strokes. The canker galls the infants of the spring too oft before their buttons be disclosed, and in the morn and liquid dew of youth, contagious blasphements are most imminent. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else is near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. Oh, I stay too long. But here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard, for shame, the wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory. Look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends that thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged courage. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit, as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of the most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night, the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invests you. Go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is't, Ophelia, that he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, and as so 'tis put on me, and that in a way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affections, pooh! You speak like a green girl unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I will teach you. Think of yourself a baby that you have ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
Aye, fashion you may call it. Go to, go to.
And hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. I do know when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise as in a making, you must not take for fire. From this time, be something scanter of your maiden presence. Set your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to parley. For Lord Hamlet, believe so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bards, the better to beguile. This for all, I would not in plain terms from this time forth have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you, come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Act 1, Scene 4, Elsinore. A platform before Elsinore Castle. Enter Hamlet, Horatio, Marcellus.
The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
Oh, it is struck.
Oh, indeed, I heard it not. It then draws near the season wherein the spirit held is wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail, and the swaggering up spring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettledrum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Aye, marry, is't. But to my mind, though I am native here and to the manner born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance. This heavy-handed revel, east and west, makes us traduced and taxed of other nations. They clip us drunkards, and with swinish phrase soil our addition. And indeed, it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, but the o'ergrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit that too much o'erleavens the form of plausive manners. But these men, carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, his virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The dram of evil doth all the noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace, defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or a goblin damned. Bring thee with thee airs from heaven or blast from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable shape that I'll speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet. King? Father? Royal Dane, oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the sepulchre wherein we saw thee quietly interred hath oped his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean, thou, dead corse, again in complete steel, revisits thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if it's some impartment it desired to you alone.
Look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak, then I will follow it.
Do not, my lord.
What should be the fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee. And for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assumes some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hears it roar beneath.
It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
Hold off thy hands.
Be ruled, you shall not go.
My fate cries out and makes each petty archer in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. Still am I called unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away. Go on. I'll follow thee.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after. To what issue will this come?
The thing is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him.
Act 1, Scene 5, Elsinore, another part of the platform before Elsinore Castle. Enter Ghost and Hamlet.
Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further.
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak. I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou dost hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night and for the day confined to fasten fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fearful porpentine. But this internal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, if ever thou didst thy father love.
Oh, God.
Revenge is foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to note that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt. And duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Lethe wharf, wouldst thou not stir in this. Now, Hamlet, hear. 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me. So the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle!
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wits, with traitorous gifts of wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce one his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Hamlet, What a falling off was there, from me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand e'en with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, though lewdness courted in the shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. Soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon, upon my secure hour thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Hebna in a vial, and in the porches of my ear did pour this leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the bodies, and with the sudden vigor it doth posset and curd like eager droppings into milk the thin and wholesome blood. So did it mine. And a most instant terror barked about most Lazar-like with vile and loathsome crust all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off, e'en in the blossoms of my sin, unhouselled, disappointed, unannealed, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Horrible! Horrible! Most horrible. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever this pursues this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows the matin to be near and begins to pale as ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu. Hamlet, remember me.
Oh, all you hosts of heaven. Oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold my heart, and you, my sinews, draw not instant hold, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee, aye, thou poor ghost, whilst memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember me. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all sauce of books, all forms, all precious past that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven. Oh, most pernicious villain! Oh, villain, villain, smiling, damned villain! My tables. Meet it is I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. Oh, at least I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu. Adieu. Remember me. I have sworn.
My lord! My lord!
Lord Hamlet.
Oh, heaven secure him.
So be it.
Hello, ho, ho, my lord.
Hello, ho, ho, boy, come, bird, come.
How is't, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you will reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
How say you then? Would heart of man once think it, but you'll be secret.
I, by heaven, my lord.
There's never a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right. You are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man hath business and desire, such as it is, and for my own poor part, I will go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
Well, sorry they offend you. Heartily, yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Oh, yes, by St. Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, that, let me tell you, for your desire to know what is between us, or master as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars, and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
Nay, but swear it.
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed, upon my sword, indeed.
Swear.
Boy, sayest thou so? Art thou there, true penny? Come on. You hear this fellow in the cellarage? Consent to swear. Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear.
Hic et ubique. Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Swear by my sword never to speak of this that you have heard.
Swear by his sword.
Ah, well said, old mole. Canst work the earth so fast, a worthy pioneer. Once more remove, good friends.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, here, as before, never, so help you mercy, how strange or odd soever I shall bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put on an antic disposition, that you, at such time seeing me, never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as, well, we know, or if we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and we might, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me. This do swear, so grace and mercy at your most need help you.
Swear.
Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love, I do commend me to you. And what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together.
Elsinore, a room in Polonius's house. Enter Polonius and Reynaldo.
Give him this money and these notes, Reynaldo.
I will, my lord.
You shall do marvelous wisely, good Reynaldo, before you visit him to make inquire of his behavior.
My lord, I did intend it.
Mary, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what dancers are in Paris, and how and who, what means and where they keep, what company, at what expense, and finding by this encompassment, and drift a question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, as thus. I know his father and his friends, and impart him. Do you mark this, Reynaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And impart him, but you may say, not well. But if to be he mean, he's very wild, addicted so and so, and there put on what forgeries you please, Mary, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as our companions noted and most known to youth and liberty.
As gaming, my lord?
Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing, you may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonor him.
Faith, no, as you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him that is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning, but breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash of and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness and unreclaimed blood of general assault.
But my good lord.
Wherefore should you do this?
I, my lord, I would know.
Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of wit. You laying these slight sullies on my son as 'twere a thing a little soiled, either working, mark you, your party in converse. Him would you sound, having ever seen in the predominant crimes the youth you breathe of guilty. Be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase or the addition of man and country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this? He does, what was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence, at friend or so, at gentleman?
At closes in the consequence, I marry. He closes thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or the other day or then with such or such. And as you say, there was he gaming there or took in rouse, there falling out at tennis, or perchance I saw him enter such a house of sale, videlicet, or brothel, or so forth. See you now your bait of falsehood, take this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assay of bias by indirections, find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son, you have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
God be with you. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself,
I shall, my lord.
and let him ply his music.
Well, my lord.
Farewell. How now, Ophelia? What's the matter?
Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what, in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love.
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go. And with his head o'er his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me.
Come, go with me. I will go see the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself, and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passions under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not coded him. I fear he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. But beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to other love. Come.
Act 2, Scene 2, Elsinore, a room in Elsinore Castle. Enter King, Queen, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it? Sith nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, that being of so young days brought up with him, and sith so neighboured to his youth and haviour, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus, that opened lies within our remedy.
Good gentlemen, he hath talked much of you, and sure I am, 2 men there is not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you, to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hope. Your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance.
Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and here give up ourselves in the full bent to lay our service freely at your feet to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz. And I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Go some of you and bring these gentlemen to where Hamlet is.
Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him.
Ah, amen.
The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned.
Thou still hast been the father of good news.
Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Oh, speak of that. That I do long to hear.
Give first admittance to the ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast.
Thyself do grace them and bring them in. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he hath found the head and source of all your son's distemper.
I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our or hasty marriage.
Well, we shall sift him. Welcome, my good friends. Say, Voldemort, what from our brother Norway?
Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first, he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polack, but better looked into, he truly found it was against your highness, whereat, grieved that so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out to rest on Fortinbras, which he, in brief, obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and, in fine, makes vow before his uncle nevermore to give the essay of arms against your majesty. Whereon old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 70,000 crowns in annual fee, and his commission to employ those soldiers so levied as before against the Pollock, with an entreaty herein further shown, that it might please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on such regard of safety and allowance as therein are set down.
It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-took labour. Go to your rest. At night, we'll feast together. Most welcome home.
This business is well ended, my liege and madam. To expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, what day is day, night night, and time is time, were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go.
More matter with less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he's mad, 'tis true. 'Tis true, 'tis pity. And pity, 'tis true, a foolish figure, but farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad, let us grant him then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend. I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience mark hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear this thus. In her excellent white bosom, these, etc.
Came this from Hamlet to her?
Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt thou the stars of fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. Oh dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers. I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best. Oh, most best, believe it, adieu. Thine evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means, and place, all given mine ear.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As of a man faithful and honorable.
I would fain prove so, but what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it, I must tell you that, before my daughter told me? What might you, or my dear majesty, your queen here, think, if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking, mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star. This must not be. And then I prescripts gave her, that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done she took the fruits of my advice, and he repelled a short tale to make, fell into sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence into a lightness, and by this declension into the madness where now he raves, and all we mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
Maybe very like.
Hath there been such a time, I would fain to know that I have positively said 'tis so when it proved otherwise.
Not that I know.
Take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks for hours together here in the lobby.
So he does indeed.
At such time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an Arius then. Mark the encounter. If he love her not, and he be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for a state, but keep a farm and carters.
We will try it.
Oh, but look where sadly the poor wretch comes reading.
Away, I do beseech you both, away. I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God a mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent well. You are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Well, then I would you were so honest a man.
Honest, my lord.
Well, I, sir, to be honest as this world goes is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
That's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breed maggots and a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion. Have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but as your daughter may conceive, friend, look to't.
How say you by that? Still harping on my daughter. Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love, very near this. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord?
Words. Words. Words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean, the matter that you read, my lord.
Slanders, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hands, all which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backward.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave.
Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant sometimes he replies are. A happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My lord, I will take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part withal. Except my life. Except my life. Except my life.
Fare you well, my lord.
These tedious old fools.
God save you, sir.
My honored lord.
My most dear lord.
My excellent good friends, how dost thou, Guildenstern and Rosencrantz? Good lads, how do you both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy in that we are not over happy. On Fortune's cap, we are not the very bottom.
Nor the soles of her shoes.
Neither, my lord.
Then live you about her waist, or in the middle of her favors?
Faith her privates we.
In the secret parts of fortune, oh, most true. She is a strumpet. What news?
None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest.
Oh, then is doomsday near. But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison hither?
Prison, my lord.
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons. Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then, 'tis none to you. For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me it is a prison.
Why, then, your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh, God! I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I had bad dreams.
Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream.
A dream itself is but a shadow.
Truly, and I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow.
Then are our beggars' bodies and our monarchs and outstretched heroes the beggars' shadows. Shall we to the court? For by my fay, I cannot reason.
We'll wait upon you.
No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants, for to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you to Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord. No other occasion?
Well, beggar that I am even poor in thanks. But I thank you, and sure, dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, come, deal justly with me. Come, come, nay, speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Anything but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there's a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my good lord?
Well, that you must teach me. But let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear a better proposer can charge you withal. Be even and direct with me whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, then I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, foregone all customs of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire, why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet we, what is this quintessence of dust? Men delights me not. No, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts.
Why did you laugh then when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We courted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
Ah, he that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute on me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target the lover, not sigh gratis. The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are tickle of the seer, and the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blank verse shall halt for it. What players are they?
Even those you are wont to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city.
How chances it that they travel? Their residence, both in reputation and profit, was better both ways.
I think their inhibition comes by the means of the late innovation.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed?
No, indeed they are not.
How comes it so? Do they grow rusty?
Nay, their endeavour keeps in the wonted pace, but there is, sir, an area of children, little evases, that cry out on the top of question, and are most tyrannically clapped for it. These are now the fashion, and so berattle the common stages, so they call them, that many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills and dare scarce come thither.
What? Are they children? Who maintains them? How are they escorted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing? Will they not say afterwards, if they should grow themselves to common players, as it is most like, if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession?
Faith, there has been much to do on both sides, and the nation holds it no sin to tar them to controversy. There was for a while no money bid for an argument, unless the poet and the player went to cuffs in the question.
Is it possible?
No, there has been much throwing about of brains.
Do the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load too.
It is not very strange, for my uncle is king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture in little. Splud, there is something in this more than natural, if philosophy could find it out.
There are the players.
Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, come then. The appurtenance of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply with you in this garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you must show fairly outwards, should more appear like entertainment than yours. You are welcome. But my uncle, father, and aunt mother are deceived.
In what, my dear lord?
I am at mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Hark you, Guildenstern, and you two, at each ear a hearer. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clouts.
Haply he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child.
I will prophesy he comes to tell me of the players. Mark it. Ah, you say right, sir. A Monday morning, 'twas then indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome.
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz, buzz.
Upon my honor.
Well, then came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene invidable, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light. For the law of wit and the liberty, these are the only men.
Oh, Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou!
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter, and no more, that which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Well, am I not in the right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot, God wot, and then, you know, it came to pass as most like it was, the first row of the pious chanson will show you more. For look, where my abridgment comes. You are welcome, masters. Masters, welcome all. I'm glad to see thee well. Welcome, friends. Oh, my old friend. Why, my face is valiant since I saw thee last. Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress, by a lady or ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last, by the altitude of a Chopin. Pray God, your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, may not be cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We'll into it like French falconers, fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my lord?
I heard thee speak a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once. For the play, I remember, pleased not the million, 'twas caviary to the general. But it was, as I received it, another whose judgment in such matters cried in the top of mine, an excellent play, well digested in the scene, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no sallets in the lines to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affection, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in't I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially when he speaks of Priam's slaughter. Now, if it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. Is not so? It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, as now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot now is he total jewels, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and empasted with the parching streets that lend tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus sourcised with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles. The hellish Pyrrhus, whose grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken with good accent and good discretion.
Anon he finds him striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, flies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, and rage strikes wide. But with the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Priam, seemed in the air to stick. So, as a painted tyrant, Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the rack stands still, the bold wind speechless, and the orb below is hush as death. Anon the dreadful thunder doth rend the region. So, after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sends him new a work, and never did Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars' armor, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, thou strumpet fortune! All you gods in general synod, take away her power, break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven as low as to the fiends.
This is too long.
It shall, to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on. He's for a jig, or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on. Come to Hecuba.
But who? Oh, had seen the moblid queen.
The moblid queen.
That's good. The moblid queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with bison room, a clout upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and o'er-teemed loins a blanket in the larm of fear caught up. Who this had seen with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with her sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal moved them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the gods.
Look where he has not turned his color and his tears in his sighs. Prithee, no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. Good, my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you would better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's bodkins, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who shall escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll have tomorrow night. You could, for a needs, study a speech of some dozen or 16 lines, which I would sit down and insert into, could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye, so goodbye to you. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force a soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage one, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him? Or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John of Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard, blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie in the throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this? Swoons. I should take it. For it cannot be but that I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region's kites with this slave's awful, bloody bawdy villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I? This is most brave. That I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words and fall cursing like a very drab, a stallion, fie upon foe about my brains. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting in a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If he do blench, I know my course. The spirit that I've seen may be a devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness or my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play is the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.